Now we have highlights coming in from a virtual event organized by the Confederation of Indian Industry and the US-India Business Council, which held a discussion on India-US trade and investment partnership post-COVID-19 scenario. The event saw panelists on implications of COVID-19 on trade and investment opportunities and collaborations between India and the US, as well as ways to strengthen the relationship. Moderating the panel was Nisha Biswal and Chandrajit Banerjee, who discussed how businesses will survive this pandemic while also reflecting upon opportunities on manufacturing in India as well as technology. Here is the story.
As we started 2020, there was a lot of blue skies ahead of us as we looked to the visit of President Trump, as we looked to the prospect of a mini trade deal, and as we saw the U.S.-India economic partnership, really continue to scale up. We were at about 142 billion in two-way trade and investment, and we were seeing surges of FDI coming into India from the United States. In fact, India, I think, had become one of the top 2 or 3 destinations for American FDI in the world. Before Air Force One had really even cleared Indian airspace, the focus and attention turned dramatically. President Trump landed in the United States to mounting concerns about coronavirus and the prospect that it could come to the United States. India itself started seeing the impacts. And of course, economically, we felt the impact of the massive disruption to the supply chains that resulted from the shutdown of China for a period of almost 2 months. Now, 2 months after that visit of President Trump to India, we're encountering a dramatically different global scenario. The pandemic has ravaged the globe. There's not really a corner of the world that has not felt its impact. Of course, the United States has felt it more deeply than any other country, as you've seen the numbers in terms of the number of cases as well as the number of fatalities. And we're not out of the woods yet. And yet, at the same time, we've also seen that the impact of this virus is not just the health impact, it's also the dramatic and devastating economic impact that it has brought. Unemployment figures in the United States are approaching the Great Depression levels. So I think as we are grappling with the impact of this pandemic, we're also quickly starting to think about what does the world look like post-pandemic, and what does the global trading system and the economic system look like, and which industries are going to be able to maximize a return to normalcy or new normalcy, as they say, and how can we think about it?
Calibrated end to the lockdown, where more and more industries are opening up, and also with the government finally announcing, this packages, the details of which are just coming out. Even just an hour ago, I was hearing the finance minister talk about it. It all depends on, it's like to what extent it will provide the necessary liquidity to the system to get some kind of a survival of the existing sectors, especially the small and medium scale sectors on one hand. Also expectation of major reforms, which all the sectors are looking forward to, because this we see, even as the Prime Minister said, it is a crisis which can offer an opportunity. All of us are looking forward to it. Only the situation there is that because several economies now, including the US for that matter, and also in terms of how people see it, they will turn inward looking, probably come out with more protectionist kind of a policies.
India exports textiles to Bangladesh, which then get converted into garments and shipped out. So not only do we export textile, but even the tags that go onto those garments, the packaging goes from India in many cases. And it's literally the garmenting which is done in a country like Bangladesh, and they do it really well. Similarly, if you look at industries like furniture, which are very labor intensive, are largely becoming China dominated. Even if you go to hotels in India or apartment complexes coming up in India, whether it's in Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, anywhere, I mean, they pretty much fit out with furniture today that is all imported. So the way I look at manufacturing is I look at it in three buckets. You have items like cement, steel, which are the cornerstone of your economy. Those have to be local. Unless you have those industries, aluminum and so on and so forth, unless those are local and they are competitive, you cannot build secondary and tertiary industries based on them. The second is industries which have large consumption in India. Now, if that can range right from automobiles to uh, uh, you know technical items to medical equipment to, I mean, medical equipment is a bit of a misnomer. It's a more high tech industry, but even things like cell phones and electronics, I mean, all these today are largely imported. And even though we say that we are manufacturing cell phones in India, it's largely assembly, and all the real value, 70-80% of the value out of that is coming from abroad. And the third category of imports, I mean, manufacturing, are those items where India is really becoming a global source. So whether those are pharmaceutical exports or manufactured exports like what we do, machine tools, and other kinds of manufactured goods. I mean, I think if you look at the second and the third category, which is essential items which can be import substituted by local manufacturing and building global scale by creating large clusters. I think that's the kind of approach that is needed, whether it is semiconductors, whether it is 5G equipment. I mean, there has to be some kind of government involvement in getting those industries to India and getting them kickstarted.
Every disruption is really an opportunity, and it's kind of given all of us an opportunity for several things. I mean, many of us on the panel, as well as globally, have been talking about the new normal. I think we are all getting adjusted to what the world will be like. And I think most of us agree that it will not be like what it used to be. Okay. And I think in many senses, I actually think it'll end up becoming much better. There are lots of things that we have all extracted out as efficiencies, even in the context of what we're doing today. So things that we never thought we could do remotely, many of us are actually doing remotely. And so when the world restarts, in a sense, in a post-COVID era, I actually think that it will be a real good combination of best of the pre and post scenarios. Many of us will have some return to our offices, but we will be thinking quite hard about whether we need physical infrastructure for various types of things. We would all look at the need for travel and try to make sure that it is done in a more efficient way. Conferencing of this kind, I think, will become more popular. So as a result, I actually believe that the role of technology infrastructure becomes more and more critical as we think about how to not just handle disruptive situations like this, but to leapfrog in that context to become leaders in the world stage.
Here are some comments now coming in from community as well as local health professionals from New Jersey. Let's take a look at what they all share with us on ITV Gold.
The need of the hour is to help people. We have to survive. We have to survive together. We can all pass through this. There is going to be a tremendous effort by the US government in healthcare sector, the pharma companies likes of Johnson & Johnson, likes of Pfizer, Catalent. Many of those companies are really investing in their R&D space, and hopefully they'll come up with some vaccine that will solve half of the problem. And half of the problems can be resolved only by you and me, we all together, because we all are the community leaders here. We all are the people blessed by God who can help the community directly, indirectly, financially, food-wise, otherwise. So my urge to all the ITV Gold viewers, please step up, please do something. Even you cannot go out, you can still contribute by way of counseling people on the phone, making some donations to some organizations, reaching out to people at least on phone, on emails, on various social media, see what you can do, how you can help. Every one of us have to step up, rise to the occasion, contribute. मेरी सभी मेरे भारतवासियों से दरख्वास्त है, इस महामारी की समस्या जो है हम एक होकर, साथ होकर ही इसको हम लड़ सकते हैं. कोई भी अकेला, मैं अकेला, आप अकेले नहीं लड़ सकते.
We have given more than 10,000 masks, 10,000 sanitizers directly to the community, to the people, because a lot of people are donating to the hospitals and nursing homes and some big charitable institutions. But we realize that common people in the local area doesn't have the mask, doesn't have the sanitizers, some foods and all that. So we have already donated more than 10,000 masks and the sanitizers, hot food, some snacks, and also the therapeutic items like ginger, garlic, lemon to the people.